Hi, hello, namaste to all my listeners. I'm your host Sarthak Varshney, and I welcome you all to the Balls of Steel show, where you get an insight into the business mindset of the entrepreneurs. Dhandho ni Soch. Our today's guest is Mr. Joshua Salins. Hi, Joshua.
Hi, Sarthak. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
Amazing. Never been better.
That's nice. You see, you seem to be excited for this interview, I guess.
I am. It's like a lot of new faces. It's like at least speaking to someone new in the lockdown, just sitting at home, like hearing someone else's voice is good.
That's great. I mean, I don't know if you've then probably not given business to Bumble or Tinder out there.
No. Not yet. Not focusing on that right
That's
now.
that's great. That's great. Focusing on the business is good. Really good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Josh, what is the business that you're running because of which we're gonna say that you have got the balls of steel?
Well, it is fairly a new concept which not no one or not many of people have been doing it. It's called where we aggregate hobbies, personalized hobbies to different people. And now in the lockdown, when a lot of people are like losing their jobs and stuff, we are providing jobs to
Hmm.
people. We're providing jobs to people in something they really love doing and following their passion and earning money. So I feel that itself, when a business is running during a pandemic, I mean, it's a big thing.
Right. I mean, biggest of the biggest people are saying the very same thing that if you're surviving this pandemic, then you're in a pretty good position.
Right.
So that's good. That's good. Okay, so that's a nice business idea that you're going around with, Josh, and it's pretty young, I guess. You started a business recently.
Yeah, so we had started with the company in January of
Okay.
2020, where it
Okay.
was an offline company where we provided hobby classes in your area, so you don't have to travel a lot because we noticed a lot of things which we'll be getting into more into this conversation. But to make hobby learning convenient, affordable, and easy is why we created the hobby tribe in the first place. But then when we reached the pinnacle of our journey, suddenly the pandemic hit, and I did not want
Mm-hmm.
the whole time that I was um, into this company to go to waste because we got such a good traction. That I started
Right.
thinking out of the box and thinking, what can I do differently? Watching, I mean, I was scrolling through Instagram, I read these posts about if you didn't do anything new during this lockdown, you wasted your time. And that was kind of the moment when I realized, I need to do something. I'm not going to just sit down and waste my time during the lockdown, but actually do productive. And that's when we transitioned offline into online. So now
Okay.
we are probably the only company catering to everything hobby related offline as well as online.
Wow, that sounds very interesting. Okay, that's so interesting. Okay, so let's do one thing, Josh. Let's dive deep into your journey and tell me everything in detail from the very starting to the current point at which you are right now.
Sure, sure. So I was born in 1999, and ever since I was a kid, music was something very close to my heart. And I remember every time during my school life, I used to always do extracurricular activities. I used to be on stage most of the time. The punishment my parents used to give me for not studying was that we won't allow you to participate in this competition. So that was the ultimatum. That's the level of that's the level that they used to go to. So anyway, so
Right.
hobbies was something very close to my heart from the start. And building on to that, I right now play five different instruments. I sing, I dance a bit, I act, I sketch, and I paint, I do craft, I do a lot of things. And that is just because from the time I was a kid, I was always into extracurricular activities, and I knew that I wanted to do something in this phase.
Right.
But like everybody else, when you keep growing up, you kind of lose touch for all of these things, right? And I started noticing that. But fortunately, uh, I used to lead praise and worship in church, and
Mm-hmm.
So singing was always there, and because we had these youth Sundays and children Sundays, we used to always perform on stage over there as well. So I never completely disconnected from it, but I did notice that my inclination towards hobbies started reducing. And
Hmm.
when that happened, I was uh, really focusing on my career and stuff. And I got into St. Xavier's College. And from St. Xavier's, now I'm in DY Patil, currently studying biomedical engineering. The reason I did that was because I
Hmm.
always loved doing something in being a doctor and being an engineer. And I was like, what if I mix the two
Right.
together? And that was biomedical engineering. So,
Right.
yeah, so when this happened, uh, I was like, see, because everyone in society, people go like, no, your son has to be a doctor or an engineer, then only you'll be set in life. So I want to do
Uh-huh.
both. I was like, I want to be extra sure that I'm set in life. So,
Okay, that's
so,
great,
so
right?
yeah, so I did biomedical engineering, and slowly down the line, what happened was I was like, when you reach a certain age, you also want to start earning money, right? Like you can't live off your parents'
Right.
money your whole life. So
Right.
I was like I made this decision of starting my own. I mean like trying to earn money and seeing what it feels like to earn money, and no company would hire you. And I
Hmm.
remember because I knew what I was good at. I knew I was good at the guitar, singing, and uh, keyboard. That I started teaching people from my church. I was like, hey, listen, I'm teaching the guitar for a small fee. And I started getting few
Hmm.
students. I got about maybe five students, I think, at that time. And then the money started rolling
Hmm.
in, and I was like, okay, wow, I can buy more stuff now. I can do stuff with this money. So that five students gave me more ambition to get 10 students. And then I made three
Right.
batches. So I was like, wow, okay, it's cool. So I mean, I think I'm enjoying this, but this is what I'm going to do. And see, in the Bible, one of the things in the Bible they say was that you think of something so small when God has something such big plans for you. I think you've heard that probably before. That you think of
Right.
something so small, but God has something big planned for you. And in that moment, I was sitting and I was thinking, okay, maybe this is what I like doing. Because see, in college, you still do not know what you want to do. So I was
I
like,
know.
maybe this is something I like doing, and I was like, okay, fine. I mean, let me try doing this. And then I think God was probably laughing from heaven, saying, "You have no idea what the bigger picture is."
Okay.
and and doing that, I started realizing when I was taking classes in that frame of mind, I was like, I want to expand more from just teaching guitar. I was studying the market. I was seeing what people are doing, what are the trends, what do they like. Some of them didn't have time for their classes. Some of them felt it was a financial commitment. Some of them felt it was too far for them to travel,
Right.
right? Some of them felt the time wasn't matching. So I was thinking of all of these things. And I was like, how can I solve this problem? See, everything apart from an entrepreneur is solving a problem. And you
Right.
solve a problem, and that becomes a business, right? So I was thinking
Hmm.
about these. I was always looking into say, see, we have Uber and Ola. We wanted to book a cab. We've got Uber, Ola.
Hmm.
We wanted to book hotel rooms and get cheap, affordable hotel rooms. You have Oyo and Airbnb. You wanted something to order food, you've got Zomato. So I was like,
Right.
if these ideas are there, what can I do that's different? And
Right.
that's the moment when I realized, what if I make an app that conveniently gives you the hobby that you want to learn?
Hmm.
So
Hmm. Hmm.
that was the point when I started brainstorming things and finding problems in the market, noticing what are the different things that people want to do but they cannot do. And what I noticed was there was a list of things. So if you go to any class nowadays, you're probably priced around 1000 to 2000 rupees a class. Sometimes maybe in the
Hmm.
700, 800 range per class. That means you don't take one, you
Hmm.
take four classes in a month, right?
Right.
So around 4000 in a bracket of say 3000 to 4000 on average you spend on a class. And with that, you even
Right.
spend on an accessory, so that becomes a
Right.
huge financial commitment. So I was thinking and I was wondering, what can I do differently that makes it so different that people would feel comfortable joining the hobby tribe. And
Right.
we first started off with talking to my few friends who I knew teach instruments. And when I was doing that, I was like, hey, listen, we'll start something where I will get you the students and you teach them. So that's how we started off, and then we started doing this, and then I started realizing that, you know what, instead of paying 1,000, 2,000, why not do it at 600 rupees per class? So I
Hmm.
completely reduced the rate
Hmm.
to 600 rupees. And from
Okay.
600 rupees, we started teaching 600 a class. Okay, so that's around 2,400 rupees a month, as opposed to spending
Right.
4,000 rupees a month. And we used to
Right.
rent out the place, and we used to like get people connected and tell them, okay, you want to learn the guitar? There's this place here. Since I stay in Dadar, there's this place in Dadar or Mahim where we're keeping the class. You can come and join. And
Right.
we noticed that it was very difficult getting students at first. It is still difficult, but it's like that's the I should tell them, don't worry, we'll get more students, just hang in there. And they used to teach one student at a time. And
Uh,
I used to run around with all the instruments, like taking a cab or taking my cycle or taking a bus or whatever, and going and delivering the instruments on time so that the class can start, because we had a lot of different venues in that one place because we wanted to bring convenience. We
right.
didn't want to start everywhere. We didn't want to have something. We wanted to rent a place so we can have the
Hmm.
hobby class. So that was what happened for a few months, and gradually people started hearing about the hobby tribe, and they started signing up. And then from there we started getting around 100 students. Then I think 40 around 40 students. From one student we ended up getting 40 students over the course of 2 months, then because the word started spreading. And
Right.
it was all going great. From only guitar, we started going to keyboard, and we did violin, we did even tailoring. So we started branching out to
Okay.
5 different hobbies. Yeah, we were trying to get every hobby under the sun offline. Like, you can go, whatever
Okay.
you ask us, you want to learn salsa, we'll get a salsa teacher for you, and we'll give you the salsa teacher, and you can start learning salsa with us. And everything was all said and done. And we started exponentially increasing when suddenly the pandemic hit. And when the pandemic hit, it just I was devastated. I didn't know what to do. I'm like, we've reached such a good point right now. And even in any hobby or anything you do, if you ever have a break in something, it's gone. You're not going to go back to it.
Right.
So I
Right.
was devastated. I was like, what am I supposed to do now? I don't know what to do. I've worked so hard getting all of this. I used to like work like from morning to evening getting this done, and now this pandemic. And I remember I was just sitting, and I was just sitting by myself, and I was realizing what to do. And I even texted a certain people in my who have already joined the class and asked them, would you want to go online? None of them gave a good response. And
Hmm.
I was like feeling this feel of, you know what, now I'll just wait for the lockdown to end, and then only I'll probably start. I can't do anything about it, because there were many times I actually went and told people we'll do it online, but no one listened, and they were not even
Right.
supporting it. So kept on going on and going on. No news, no news. I was literally losing my patience. I was like, I don't know what to do now. Should we just wait? But at the same time, I didn't want to waste my time during lockdown. I wanted to do something. It was like I
Right.
knew there's something that can be done, but there's nothing that's happening right now. And anyway, I started praying and fasting, and I was like asking God for direction to help me out and what to do. I don't know. I had no idea what to do. But for some reason, I always felt this feeling, okay, go online. And I always
Right.
it that's this voice inside kept saying go online, and I didn't know a path to do it. But anyway,
Right.
suddenly out of nowhere, one of my school teachers randomly just texted me, and I was talking to her about all of this, and she said, "Hey Josh, why don't you teach classes online for our students?" And I was like, "Sure, why not? Let's do that. Let me see what I can do." And
Hmm.
and when I did that, We started getting a few phase one. We got a few students. We got like only maybe 10 students, but even that was something. And
Right,
from there we were like, okay, you know what, we'll do something more. And phase two, we nearly jumped 30% more in phase two. And it was not only school now. Now it was like kept on. People started talking more about it and more about it because they started liking it. And right now, we have grown so much. Like from 30 students, we reached around 100 students, and now I we so okay. So after the 30 students that happened on phase two, now phase three, I was like, what do we do now? And but see, people start just pouring in, and we started getting a full
right,
batch and all that. And I was like, okay, wow, okay, this is something new. See, the thing is, we have our own teachers. We are not like the other classes that say that, okay, just book your teacher online and the teacher going to teach you. We screen the
right,
teachers. We make sure that the best teachers who are teaching on our platform, and not any Tom, Dick, and Harry can just come sit there and go like, okay, I can teach online. Let me teach. We actually
right.
screen them. We have our own HR department. All this has grown over time, huh? Where they actually sit and listen to how the teachers talk, so that we know that this is a good
Right,
thing. So when this happened from phase three, remarkably, we realized that we were the only ones. We were like the a few who were doing this, and suddenly we went all over the world, like from an idea that was offline, where I used to tell my teachers that you need to go to Dadar, you need to go to Mahim. From here, we'll expand to another part. We never ever
huh?
imagined that we would go out of India. Forget India, out of Maharashtra. But
Okay, so what exactly happened there?
so yeah, so that's the thing. So what happened was, I think we had a few people who I knew who were staying abroad, and
Uh-huh.
we were like, I just told them the idea, and my family who were abroad, I just showed them the idea and told them, hey, listen, this is the class that we're doing and all that stuff, and they absolutely loved it. They went and showed all of their friends because of the quality of education that we are providing, and their friends went and told their friends, and their friends went and told their friends. And right now, we are teaching more than 10 countries around the world. And all of those people are learning from Indian tutors. A
Wow.
company that is made in India is now teaching everywhere, is teaching 10 plus countries around the world. My teachers are literally saying, Josh, I would never have believed I would be teaching international students.
Wow. That's really quite a story, yeah.
I'm
That's
telling you,
quite a
I'm telling you, it was like it just changed my whole trajectory from doing biomedical engineering to doing this now. It's like this I do. I'm not even kidding. It's like you know, that's what I said when I'm telling you that I think God was laughing from heaven, looking at what I'm doing, saying that okay, this is what I'm gonna do. And then he was like, I have
uh-huh.
such a big thing planned. I thought of teaching guitar, and God gave me a company.
Wow, that's lovely, yeah. That's lovely. Okay, so is this the story till this point, or is there more to it?
Yeah, so before so even when before all of this was happening, we were also catering to. So I personally believe that only people who can afford it do hobbies. In all fairness,
Hmm.
only because you can
Right,
afford it, you can do it, right? So but
right.
I knew that hobbies was such an important part of my life that it shaped me into the human that I am today. I wanted to give back to society, saying that those who are the underprivileged kids who do not have money to learn their favorite hobbies, we provide them with free workshops. and
Okay,
and what we did was we used to go to NGOs and give free workshops to students to learn their favorite hobby. And we've taught more than 100 kids now for free.
that's nice.
So yeah, that's what we started. We called it the hobby service, where we provide free workshops to the underprivileged kids. But at the same time, see, like I told you about the renting, I mean, sorry, like I told you about the convenience factor of it, right? So
Hmm.
what else we do was we notice that people spend a lot of money learning their hobby. Like just to
Hmm.
learn the guitar or just to learn the keyboard, they have to first pay the fees, and on top of that, they have to even they have to even buy their own equipment. Right?
Right.
Not anymore. Now at the hobby tribe, what you can do is you learn your favorite hobby and you can rent
Hmm.
out any instrument or any hobby accessory you want. We'll be delivering it to your doorstep, and after that month gets over, you can get it back. All at only rupees 500 rupees for a guitar for a month. You can like just rent a guitar for 500 rupees a month instead of paying 5 6,000 rupees for a guitar.
Wow. That's quite interesting. Okay.
Yeah. And we've
Oh,
also we've
yeah.
also crushed the market in terms of pricing now for our online
Uh-huh.
classes, where I remember I told you that people charge around 1,000 2,000 rupees per hour per classes.
Hmm.
We've brought
Right.
it down to only 163 rupees per class.
Wow.
So yeah,
That's
that's been
something.
the journey.
That's quite a journey, I would say.
And all at 21.
Age is just a number. Don't worry. That's
Yeah,
what we say in business and in love. Age is just a number.
right.
Okay, so that does put me in some questions that I want to ask you in this small journey of yours,
Yeah,
right? So let's start with this for one thing. So Joshua, you told us that you and in your school age you were involved in plenty and plenty of co-curricular activities, and you used to be the one who would be on the stage lots and lots of times,
right,
and the kind of punishment your parents would give.
right,
So if I ask you to, look back at that time and connect that dot with whatever you're doing right now, that is basically you're an entrepreneur right now.
right.
So what did you learn from that part of your life, and what was the mindset? Ever like, did you ever think in those days of your school that I'll be running a business or something of that sort? So these are kind of two questions that I'm trying to collate.
Right.
So give me more insight about this.
So I never ever thought I'd be a businessman at all. Like it never
Uh
once
huh.
came to my mind I would be into business at all. I never even knew there's something called entrepreneurship.
Okay.
But my family background is all into business only. Like my mom's
Hmm.
siblings and my dad also is a businessman. But I for
Hmm.
some reason it never rubbed. It never rubbed. Maybe it's in my blood, but it never rubbed across like in plain sight. So,
Hmm.
I mean, one thing I always knew. See, but the thing is, kids my age or our generation, they just knew one thing:
Hmm.
you need to study, get a degree, and do a job, right? Like that's how
Right.
everyone's programmed. You go to school, you need to get good marks in your 10th grade, otherwise you won't get into a good college. If you don't get into a good college, you won't get into a good degree college. That is
Right.
how it's wired. So
Absolutely.
even when I was a kid,
Right.
that was how I was following life, like the same way as millions of people were doing it. But
Right.
but then I always knew there was so much more to me than just going into a no, going in doing biomedical engineering and then getting a job.
Hmm.
But speaking to her at that time, I always knew that doing extracurricular activities made me happy. It brought in something out of me that I would have never expressed before. Like there was so many things that the hobbies have got out of me that has molded me into the person I am today. Like I said before.
Hmm.
So yeah, I mean back then I would never ever think that I would have a company based on something I always loved. But see, the thing is, if you can't get it, you make it. That's what I feel,
Absolutely.
right? If you can't get something, you make it. Like I remember when I was a kid, I used to watch TV. I used to watch ads on TV and be like, I want to be in an advertisement on TV. But right now, my mind isn't that. Now my mind is I want to make my company's ad there go on TV. It's not going to be me
Exactly.
being an. It's not going to be me acting for someone else's advertisement, but I'm going to promote my own advertisement now. You see the mindset that's changed.
Right. 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 Right.
So
Right. Definitely.
that's what I
Definitely.
say.
I know
So if you can't get it, you make it your own.
that.
Make your own
Right. I would say somewhere you're getting inspired by those quotes which are totally based on Elon Musk. That
Dude,
he wa-
that guy is my he is my mentor. Dude. I have a book by him also. He's like one of the people I look up to. He's
Right. I mean, who doesn't? I would say. That's what we say. That he wanted a car, he built Tesla. He wanted to go to space, he built SpaceX.
Exactly.
He got bored, he created no boring company.
I
I mean, that's
I
what this.
wanted people to have a career. I wanted people to have a career in doing something they like. Got the hobby tribe. Made everybody happy. No, but
That's
yeah, but honestly, the
yeah.
hobby tribe is now possibly, hopefully, also created to give a career platform for people who
Hmm.
want to make this their career, who want to make their passion their career. This platform is built for them as well because now they can do something they
Definitely.
really love doing and earn money doing that.
Right. Right.
So
Right.
we've
Right.
created a completely new form of career pathway now. I really, I really wanted, like, always if you hear people go like मेरा बेटा को engineer बनना है यार, उसको doctor बनना है, all that stuff, like only engineering and doctor. When you talk about the other streams, they go like, no, that's always looked down upon. Even when you talk about, my son is a musician, or my son is this, or my daughter is this, yeah, he's an artist, they always look down upon them, saying that's not a proper career path. You can't do that. I
Right.
wanted to change that
Right.
mindset, saying that you can give equal recognition to these guys as well, because getting a talent is a blessing, I feel. And that is why my company's logo, I mean tagline, is blessed to
Hmm.
be a blessing.
Wow.
Why? Because I have been blessed with the talent and gifting that I have got, and
Right.
I am blessing somebody else by teaching it to them.
Definitely. 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 Okay, so let's go on in the journey and talk more about it. Right.
Right.
So right now you told us that probably the business that your dad is in business and your mom's side is also into business,
Yeah.
so that probably rubbed off into your blood and not something visually.
Right.
So if I talk more about it, so didn't anything ever happen in your family life that would probably I would say instigate these business
Mm.
senses in you, that that probably with time this is going to happen, and things like, yes, this guy will turn up to an entrepreneur. For example, I would say that you know at early ages,
Mm.
fathers take, like, even my father used to take me to his company, that come and see this, how this thing works, and how this thing happens,
Right.
what do they do, how to treat employees, and all those stuff.
Right.
So does or anything of that sort happened with you, so that we can say that that this thing has got into you and you've got there.
Right. So I feel my dad's been a really great role model in that front, because
Mm-hmm.
I look up to my dad a lot, because the way that he conducts himself and the way he treats and respects his employees, all of that stuff. See, because the thing is, whenever my dad used to take me to his company, he runs a company in metal fabrication and anodizing, one of the only anodizing companies in Mangalore. Like, his factory is there. So whenever I used to go
Okay.
there, when I used to go to this factory, everyone used to call me Chota Set. It gave me a good kick, because I was like, oh, I'm small, but they're still calling me Chota Set. But at the same time, seeing my dad live according to his own terms, and, like, he didn't have to go to a job continuously and, like, come home late and all that stuff. He could do whatever he wanted because he was the boss of his own company. And there were people who looked up to him. You get it? That was something I
Right.
always admired. I always wanted to be a kind of influential person. I always wanted to have people looking up to me and me leading through example. I always used to see myself as a leader, because every time in school as well, I used to, like, be the monitor, or by default, anything that happens about planning is dumped onto me only, because they're like, dude, you are the one who plans everything. You're the one who knows it properly. So yeah, I mean, so see, even when you see a proper framework of an entrepreneur, is you
Right.
need leadership qualities. You need to have command over what you're doing. You need to
Right.
even be knowledgeable, passionate about all these things. And I
Right.
had all of these qualities, but I didn't know to translate to this.
Hmm. Right.
So yeah,
Right.
my dad
So
was, and also the thing was, see, when you roam around people in that, like, they say birds of a feather flock together.
Right,
So
right,
when you're
absolutely.
always surrounded by people like this, it's bound to happen. Even if you think you're not going to end up doing it, you will do it. Like if you're like I'm not I'm not saying it in a bad way, but if I'm saying like if you go out with friends who drink a lot, even though you
Right,
start off saying that I'm not going to drink, I have self control, this and that, eventually over time you're going to start drinking.
right,
Same way, when
definitely.
you surround yourself with certain number of the same like-minded people, you it tends
Hmm.
to rub off without you even knowing. Fortunately, it
Right,
rubbed off in the right way.
absolutely. I can definitely say that. Right. So that's a good insight, how these things from the parents have affected you and how you're getting more deeper into this entrepreneurship journey of yours.
Yeah,
So what I would want to ask is that you also told us that with time and with the way Indian society, I would say, runs is that ki, the child should do engineering and medical, and this somewhere, got into your head, and you were like, ki, I'll do both and see, where biomedical takes me,
right,
and this thing happens, right? But even though you did that, you've got to your own journey. And so, tell me one thing: how was this thing at your place? Because your father's a businessman,
right,
and you're seeing the business happening. Did they also like provoke you, ki beta, good school grades, then good college, then good job, and everything? And if they did so, then what do they say now?
right. So a typical South Indian family always wants you to get the first rank all the time. I don't know if you could relate with
Okay.
me, but but yeah, I mean
I can.
all the other viewers who have South Indian parents will know that their parents are like the most strictest parents in terms of studying they'll ever find in their life. So even though my dad was into business, he also did his engineering and electrical engineering. So
Mm-hmm.
in a way, he always told me like he had wanted me to get into this because I don't think even he saw me as like an entrepreneur before. I don't think so.
Okay.
I will see because everyone in my friends are like, dude, why are you even studying? Your dad has a company of his own, he has factories and all. Why don't you just be the next heir to that? But my dad,
Right.
the mistake I did was I told my dad this. I don't know why I told him this. And my dad was like, you think it's going to be that easy? I worked a lot to get into all of this. I'm not going to just give it to you.
Wow.
So that actually, one other point, key factor I feel that my dad molded me into was he never gave me pocket
Uh-huh.
money. Even though it was not that we couldn't afford anything, it just that he wanted me to teach me the value of money. When all my friends used to have money with them and they used to spend it on stuff, I never got to do that. He never let me. Only when I asked him, he used to give it to me, but he would not give me a proper pocket money monthly basis. You know how people get right every month they.
Right, right, right. I know.
He never gave me that. He always was like, no, what is that? He used to always make me calculate everything. Like if I go for a movie, he would tell me, okay, 500 rupees for this, 500 rupees for this, 1000 rupees. Why do you want 1500? What are you going to do with 500 rupees extra? And if I don't give my proper ISAB back, then I have to pay it to him. You understand? So yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. So it was that way. It was that kind of an atmosphere I was living in. So it was like I always had to be cut to cut with my finances. It was not again. It was not that
Uh,
he couldn't afford it. It was just that he was trying
right,
to instill in me something when I never noticed what it was for. See, as a kid, you never
right,
know what your parents' intentions are unless you grow older,
right.
and then you realize, oh, that is what he meant when he did that.
Right, right,
Well, if
right.
if my dad would have given me everything I asked for that time in terms of giving me the money I wanted every time my friends used to go out, I don't think I would have respected and valued money right now.
Hmm.
So that's why I say
That,
my dad's been very influential in this part of it.
that's really nice, I would say. And this I would say probably puts out a message for lots and lots of parents out there, be parents from both the categories, I would say, that either from the business category or from the parents who are working somewhere, right?
Hmm.
That whichever way you're trying to bring up the child, I mean, there just needs to be a way. I'm not questioning anybody's parenting here, but this just needs to be a way the child understands the results at a sooner age. Otherwise, probably what I have seen happen is that many times children don't really understand that, what are the reasons behind so and so preaching that their parents are giving, and they
Right,
tend to go in the opposite direction.
right.
Right. So on this very point, if I ask you that, did you ever go in the opposite direction? Ki, yaar, my father's not giving me money. I'll do something else and get the money, probably borrow or whatever it is, like whatever uh, your interest might have been. I would say. So did anything of this sort happen with you?
Uh, so it happened once, I think, and I asked my uncle for the
Okay.
money instead of my dad because
Okay.
I already asked my dad for money and I didn't want to ask him again. So,
Uh,
so I asked my uncle for it, but then even see, he also, I never did anything wrong. I didn't rob money or anything.
huh.
It was just that uh,
Right.
I was always, uh, I always got what I wanted in terms of if I needed it.
Hmm.
Understand? He would give it to me if I
Right.
need it. If it's not something that I need for that moment, he won't give it to me. So it was only certain instances when I used to, go to my uncle and do it. But then even he realized what my dad's doing, so he also started stopping it. So it was like maybe once or twice, because then I started feeling bad. I was like, I don't want to keep asking him for money all the time. But I did give the money back to him. But I'm just saying that,
Right.
but the thing arose about when my parents started telling me about how you shouldn't keep loans or debts.
Right.
So that is also one of the reasons what he was maybe trying to inculcate in me, saying that even though you have a money crunch, you should try and make your own money instead of asking people and then giving the money back to them.
Right.
You understand? So everything what they taught me was practically life lessons which I never knew or understood until now.
Abs- Until you got into your own business, I would say.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because see, now that thing is in my mind now that I do not want to get into debt or loans. Like I tell a lot of other people as well. If you're doing something, try starting it off with your own money. Don't take loans or
Hmm.
anything or debt. Be in debt because then that's going to keep increasing and then that's going to be difficult for you itself. So I
Hmm.
bootstrapped the
Hmm.
company on my own. Like I worked myself, got my own money, and then I founded the company with my own money.
So basically, this would be right to say on my part that when you started taking those initial student classes, you kind of saved that money
That,
after a point, I would say, because earlier you had the realization that, okay, I can spend the money the way I want to.
that's
Then you started saving that money, and then when you realized, okay, I can do this, then probably you put up that money and bootstrapping the business,
right,
right?
right. So that's how it started.
That's great.
Yeah,
That's great then. Okay, so moving on into the journey, and I would now ask you that when you started realizing that your hobbies are declining, your interest towards them is declining,
right,
and you got into the college and you started noticing everything.
right.
So did that ever put up anything in your mindset, anything that probably, okay, life is moving on, just chill out, or maybe something? Because the kind of person that I'm noticing that you are,
Mhm.
you always want to do something. You
Right,
can't live like you can't be I would say, a stable person,
right,
someone who's at peace. You
right.
need to keep moving. So what was that period like? And if I want to connect that period with this entrepreneurship period,
Mhm.
what would be the two dots that you would like to connect?
So see, very in the starting when I started my venture, it was offline, right? So it was like a small thing, and
Hmm.
it wasn't picking up that well. So I wouldn't call I wouldn't be like very. I was not very happy with how it was going off in the start. But
Hmm.
because I was moving and constantly doing something all the time, I used to devote more time to my business than my studies. I started realizing, my priorities have started changing,
Hmm.
right? So when that started happening, my dad also was like, Josh, don't spread yourself too far. Be careful, be careful. And I heeded his commands, and thank God I didn't spread myself too far because I wouldn't have been able to control it that back then. And
Okay.
slowly, my dad was like, at least get one student, see how it goes first before doing it. Get one student. And I remember that day, and now I'm looking at it right now. It's just funny. But anyway, I'll get to that later. So then, yeah. So then,
Right.
going on. See, it takes 21 days for a habit to form, right?
Definitely.
So every day I remember I used to pick up the phone, call people because I was in this carnival and a lot of people showed
Hmm.
interest in the hobby tribe. So I got a lot of
Right.
numbers. So I was calling them all up one by one by one. Once I finished that list, I called them up again. And
Okay.
that's how I got so many students. It's because I myself kept calling them over and over and over again till I myself was so bored. But still, I knew that I need to
Okay.
hustle. I needed to do something. I didn't want to just wait idle, sitting, doing nothing. I wanted to get my business running.
Uh-huh.
So that's what I did during the during the offline part, and I got a sizable amount of students.
Right.
And when that happened, it was all going great and everything was going good. And then because the pandemic hit, that habit of doing all of this work suddenly stopped. You get my point? Like because I was
Right.
doing so active, going out every day, I was on my cycle, cycling to Mahim and then coming back and then going back and opening the door, closing the door, renting places, going this, doing that, business deals. All of that suddenly, all of a sudden, went to a stop. And when that happened, I was like feeling worthless. I was just sitting at home doing nothing. I was like, what am I doing in my life? I remember I used to only watch TV shows then. And my dad used to come in the room and say, "What are you doing, son? What are you doing? You're always watching something or the other on TV or like on your Netflix or whatever." And I was like, "Dad, I can't do anything. There's nothing happening. I tried calling people. They're not answering. They're laughing in my face when I'm telling them to join classes because they're talking about the COVID virus." So it demotivated me. But at the same time, like I said, I was like, I started reading books like Think and
Hmm.
Grow Rich and Rich Dad Poor Dad. By the way, that's the reason I started my company after reading Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Oh, that's the reason for a lot of companies, I would say.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right.
So then what happened was I started reading. I stopped using the computer and watching videos that much and shifted to reading books. And reading books, I just had, and I told you like I started praying and all in the during the lockdown and
Hanji.
trying to find out what should I do for online classes. But then when I started online, uh, I mean it was like I didn't exactly like I was saying I didn't know what I was doing because I that habit of not doing anything. I mean doing everything started stopping. So when I read the Instagram post when I was one day going to
Hmm.
my Instagram and I suddenly read the post saying that if you did do something new and innovative in the lockdown, you have wasted the whole lockdown process because no one's doing anything right now and you'd be doing something. That hit me. That hit me on such a level where I was like, yeah, this is my time where I can actually make a difference because see, I know that I'm in this world. I just don't want to be somebody else and just leave. I want to make my mark before I leave.
Right.
So I was like, this is the right time for me to hustle and instead of doing all this, start working on something important. And then I realized, instead of talking to one people, why don't I like connect with people I know and see if I can start taking online class for them? And that happened, and that was probably the best decision of my life. See, in anything that you do, the moment all my childhood moral of stories suddenly came true in this lockdown period. Then they keep saying, try,
Hmm.
try, and you shall succeed. Because
Right.
the epitome of me trying, calling people, and then eventually succeeding.
Hmm.
So, me being someone so active, suddenly in the lockdown went so non-active, and my mentors and advisors were all like, "You need to be proactive, proactive. Think about the future. Think ahead. Do not think of in the time." So yeah, that actually made me think into doing something more. And that's when I came up with something. This is a line that I've come up with when I was sitting down and thinking what to do. I tell
Hmm.
myself now and other people as well who ask me what to do with your life. I just tell them this one thing. Look into your bank account and ask
Hmm.
yourself, are you worth that much?
Wow. That's nice.
And when you look at it, you would understand yourself if you're worth that much or not. And when I saw my bank account, I was like, I have only 500 bucks. I'm like, dude, I am not worth 500 rupees. I know I have so much potential. I know I have so much to show the world. I am not going to just show
Right.
500. That just gave me that extra boost, which I was like, no, I'm going to increase that 500 rupees to something more and show the world that you know what, I am not worth 500 rupees. Even though no one will know what my bank statement is. But the thing is, for me,
Hmm.
I know what my worth is. I know I'm not worth 500 rupees.
I know. I know.
That,
I can get
that
that
was the
vibe.
thing that
I can get that
motivated me
feeling.
during the lockdown.
That's really nice. That's really nice. Okay, so Josh, once again picking up bits from your journey. There was this point where you told me that when this thing started to pick up, you became very observant of the
Right.
market trends, of the people's likings, dislikings,
Right.
and how things are working around. So if I talk about those things, I can definitely relate to a lot of stuff that you even picked up your new complete online idea from that one Instagram post, right?
Right.
So all those things have added to your becoming a more observant person
Right.
in terms of everything. So if I ask you, being a very, very young entrepreneur out there,
Hmm.
right? So what would be your insight about this thing that entrepreneurs are very observant about everything and they like kind of know anything and everything around them?
No, see, that's what I said. So every entrepreneur starts a business because they see a problem. Because there's a
Hmm.
problem, that is where you create a business from. And that's why I have another thing that I keep saying is convenience is not free. And I feel it should be every entrepreneur's mantra.
Okay.
Convenience is not free.
Right, right, right,
So the
right.
two things that I follow is blessed to be a blessing and convenience is not free.
Hmm.
See, because you do the work of getting things and getting and solving the problem, you are creating that convenience for your client and you are getting
Hmm.
paid for that convenience. That's what an entrepreneur is.
Right.
So
Absolutely right.
that answers your question.
Yeah, somewhere it is. I would somewhere, not exactly, but yeah, somewhere. Okay, so moving on, Josh, well, tell me about this thing. Like, what was that feeling when you had your first transaction?
Oh my god, that was like actually it felt so good because it's like you built something out of nothing and people are paying you for that.
Right,
That
right. And what was the thoughts then?
it was just surreal, man. It was like you had an idea, you've executed that idea,
Huh?
and now you've got your first transaction for that idea that's come out from your brain. I mean, I don't know how to explain it to you, but it's just it feels like like you've accomplished so much, even earning first rank in school wouldn't give you.
Definitely, definitely. I can completely get that feeling that I mean
Yeah,
your excitement is showing this to me. I mean the way you're talking right now, we're not even in front of each other, but there's so much escalation in your voice and so excitement that probably I can think that you're still remembering that first transaction when probably your client would have handed you those 2,000 or 1,000 rupees in your hand and it'd be like, oh my God,
it
I
it
made this
was it
happen.
was it was just that why? Because my dad was telling me you've not started
Huh?
anything. You're going and telling everybody that you started the hobby tribe, but you've not got a transaction yet. This and that and this and that. At least make one. At least get one student. At least get one student. And then I got my first student, and I'm telling you, I was like, you know what? You're my favorite student. You're my favorite client. You were the one that started this whole movement. And now we have so many registrations online. I'm looking back at the day
Uh-huh.
my dad told me just get one student, and now we're all around the world.
Right. Right. So on this very part, when you're talking about one, I don't know if you've heard this saying or not. There's this saying that, uh, for the Western system, it goes like you need to make it's very difficult for you to make your first million. Then it's easier,
Right,
right?
right,
Similarly, in India, I don't know if you've ever heard Sandeep Maheshwari or not. He would always say, "Don't think about those 1,000 products that you would manufacture.
right,
Think about that one best product that you can manufacture. Then you can definitely do that." He also said, "Don't think about the thousands and lakhs you would make. Think about the first rupee that you can make.
right,
If we can make that first rupee, you can definitely make the hundred and definitely make the thousands."
right.
So if I talk about your mindset about this notion out there,
Hmm.
how do you follow your entrepreneurial journey and around this notion? And what are your plans around the money and how are you planning to expand with these things in mind?
So I have a lot of plans in mind, but I feel in the long run I want to be an investor. So
Hmm.
with the money that
This is coming from Rich Dad Poor Dad, I'm pretty sure.
this is yeah, I mean it's not only that, it's that I've seen how my family members who are also
Hmm.
some of them who have like successful businesses, and they are running and they are investing in other people's life. Again, it fits into my category of my tagline being blessed to be a blessing.
Right.
I am blessed with the finances that I want to like be a blessing to someone else. This is later on, but not now. But
Hmm.
yeah, so
Obviously.
I would want to allocate my funds wisely is what I would say, not spending it on things which I won't use. I would
Hmm.
probably want to keep building my company in and investing in other people as well. So
Hmm.
that is for now what I've thought of. But nowhere in the
Okay.
agenda is it to like spend it on things which is not valuable as of now,
Hmm.
or which is not
I get it.
necessary for this time.
Right, right, right. So you're actually putting in money which help you grow the business, not drain the business
Yes,
in
because see,
any form.
that's been how it was at the very start of my company. How much ever I earned,
Right.
I have just put everything into my company. And now that the company is growing, I'm just 21 years old, and now I am employed more than 28 people.
Wow. I was just gonna ask you, like, tell me about your team. So yes, you can start from here. Tell me more about this team, about these 28 people and how you manage these things and everything. Tell me.
Right. So what happened was when I first started the company, I didn't have a
Hmm.
website. And you know,
Hmm.
the best business partners or the best co-founders you'll find within your circle itself.
Right.
And there were two of these friends in church who who I never spoke to a lot, but they were just
Uh-huh.
there. I knew them. They were just there. But for some reason, that moment I knew that they were like tech. They were into the tech business, and they are studying only. They are also in their of uh, final year of what was that called?
Engineering?
In information technology engineering. Yeah. Uh,
Okay, okay.
engineering. And I just shared them the idea and told them that even they have no experience whatsoever, okay. And
Mm-hmm.
I was just like, hey, I'm thinking of this, can we build a website? This is what I told them. And they were like, sure.
Right,
And that time I was just like, I'll just pay them like money to build the website and that would be it. But then I
right.
kept growing and growing and growing. They kept staying by my side and then they made the website. Even they do not believe to this day that they have built the website like that.
Wow.
Till now they're like, dude, if you wouldn't have given us the opportunity, we wouldn't have known that we had something like this inside us to build a website like this.
Wow, wow, wow. This is quite nice. And what about the other people that are working? So these are the
Yeah,
co-founders,
so
right?
these two became then recently they became my co-founders, and I was like, dude, you have put in so much effort. It's like we literally were a 24-hour company because I used to run it during the day, and during the night time
Right.
they used to completely build the website every night diligently, sitting up from like 12 a.m. to morning 7 a.m. They used to like build the website, completely build it, and like if I used to keep telling them, dude, they even go to sleep. After that, they used to go to college, and I saw the effort that
Okay.
they were putting into it, and I was like, you know what, dude, you guys have earned to be a co-founder of the Hobby Tribe.
And what was their reaction like?
They were speechless. They never believed that they could be a co-founder of a new company startup. For them, they just wanted to have an experience or an intern with me and learn how to build a website and then learn and build a website for somebody else. Now they are employing interns under them.
So basically, you have instilled the intrapreneur skill set in them, I would say.
Definitely, definitely. That's what I'm saying, right? It makes more than doing things. Gives me more pleasure knowing that I am influencing people. Like I said before, I one of my many dreams is to be an influencer.
Right.
So just them being so happy, telling me, bro, I wouldn't have ever expected co-founding a company. I wanted to do a 9 to 5 job and getting into that stream and like making websites for other people. And now I am building a website for you. I mean, we are in your team and we are having interns under us. It's just
That's
crazy.
nice.
And then from
That's
there, I
lovely.
called my friends who knew guitar and keyboard and I told them that you guys come and teach and
Uh-huh.
they thought small time and then from that 5 teachers grew to 10 teachers From that 10 creatures, now it's grown to around 30 teachers now.
Wow. Wow. So this very HR thing that I'm gonna ask you, because you're at such an early age and you're doing this well.
Yeah,
So what are your HR plans like? So all these teachers, are they full time, or are they on class to class basis? What
right.
what what's the model like?
So, what happens is we are as of now it's like on a part-time basis for the tutors because
Mm-hmm.
till the company keeps growing we cannot employ them full time. So
Right.
whenever they want to like teach, that's when they teach, and that model is really helpful for those who are working and they want time to earn money doing what they're passionate about.
Right.
So that's when you
Right.
get a kick saying that, hey, you know what, this is giving me an opportunity where I can even earn money doing something I like even after my office hours. So
Mm-hmm.
even people sitting at home teach, people who are in office, they after office they come and teach. They learn whenever
Mm-hmm.
they feel like learning. So yeah, we are trying to build an ecosystem in India where hobbies come back to life again.
That's lovely. That's lovely. So basically, it's a part time basis that your teachers
As
work
of
with you
now, right? Yeah,
as of now, and you look forward to getting them on full time.
definitely.
So there's no teacher who's full time right now.
See, as of now, everyone's full time because of the lockdown.
That's a wise way to say that.
So, so they are like teaching. See, the thing is, we teach US and all as well. And see, the thing is, we are the first live online all hobby classes. So we
Right.
teach live. It's not pre-recorded.
Ha, ha, ha,
So
ha,
all
ha.
of these teachers, when they're teaching US and all, they teach like at 1 in the night as well.
Definitely. I mean, US is completely off the,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I would say,
So,
time
so
records.
we have groups in US. We have gone to EU. We've gone to UAE, in Australia, everywhere.
Wow, yeah, that's
Even my
really
teachers,
really
even my
nice.
teachers, they came up to me and told me, Joshua, I'm telling you, I never expected this at all. We never expected. Thank you so much for giving us this opportunity. And I'm like, dude, it's not me. It's all your hard works and efforts. It's like I just
Uh,
gave you a medium to showcase your talent to the world. It's your talent that is getting you what you're doing.
right, 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 right. So that the way I see it, that's probably you have almost answered most of my questions that I would have thought of asking you, and we've got a lot from a journey as well, right? But there's just still a couple of questions that I would want to ask you.
So,
So one of them is that are you a money-minded person? How would you say that?
so see, I wouldn't lie and say that I'm not a money-minded person. Let's be honest,
Mm-hmm.
like, people take up entrepreneurship to evade the rat race,
Right,
right? So I wouldn't completely say I'm a money-minded person, but yeah, I mean definitely, it's a two-way thing. You can't look at it in a way saying that, I've seen a lot of people when they go like, they are into this because they're going to earn this and that. It's that I have created my own path now, and if that's
uh-huh.
blessing me in a way where I could also not think or imagine, that's just my bonus,
Right,
right? So in terms of answering if I'm a money minded person, everybody is.
definitely. Definitely. I would agree to that. I would agree to that. But then it also comes down to how you're planning to utilize the money. And I guess you've already answered that,
Yeah,
by telling me that you want to invest in the business first, and
make
you're
a
already
blessing to
helping
somebody else.
poor children. Right. You're also helping the children out there, the people who can't afford the hobby classes. That's a really, really good deal that you're working around. So, tell me one more thing. Like, every business has some problems,
Right.
right? And so if I ask you, every business is somewhere also going in that, some sort of struggles every now and then,
Hmm.
right? If I remove this pandemic part, so
Right.
if I ask you like what are your major struggles in the business, so what would they be?
First, it would be finding teachers.
Okay.
Then it would be finding students.
Right,
That's like the most difficult part. Like, see, the thing is, you cannot get students to buy a service. They have to feel
right,
comfortable in doing it. So it
right,
cannot be in your hands. It depends on how you showcase your service to the world. See, doing a product is
Mm-hmm.
easy.
Right.
Selling a product is easy. You can just tell them you can probably sell a comb to a bald man,
Right.
right? But you cannot sell dancing to a paralyzed person,
Wow, that's a nice way to say it.
right?
But then
It's a service.
there's still hopes. There's
There,
still hopes that you
that
can
is, that
sell.
is definitely there is hope. See, if you have a passion to do something,
Right.
definitely you can do it. But I'm saying, in an
Right.
analogy point of view, when you talk of it
Right.
as a product-based company and a service-based company, there's a world of
Mm-hmm.
difference. It is not as easy as going doing paid promotions and getting people to join. It needs sheer passion that people see. Your passion should resonate to your teachers, and from that teachers to your students.
Definitely. Definitely.
So that
Definitely.
that I feel is one very important thing and like the most difficult part that you need to do. What
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Any other struggle?
any other struggle would be finance at the start.
Finance.
Like I
Okay.
always knew
Okay.
I wanted to do something, but then finance was always a barrier. So I
Right.
had to delay it because I had to earn my own money before doing it.
Right, right. So on this very point, when we're talking about the finances, let's when we talk, if you look at your business, so what are the problems that you're generally facing right now? The no money problems or the more money problems
Uh,
in your business?
I mean, see, you can't term it that way because in business it keeps changing, keep fluctuating.
Definitely,
Sometimes it
definitely.
would be like really good, sometimes it would be very bad. So I don't think that would be like I don't know how to answer this question though, because like
Oh, okay, probably then you can tell me that, let's say, when you need some cash or maybe some sort of finances
right,
urgently for any sort of, situation that might arise in the business,
right,
right? Let's say you want to pay for the server fees or the hosting fees
right,
immediately.
right.
So how do you make those sort of arrangements?
So see, that's the thing. So at the start, when I used to teach, I used to see if I don't know how many of you all have read the book Rich Dad Poor Dad, but then it clearly said
Hmm.
you need to make money work for you, not the other way around. So
Definitely.
when I started reading that book, I started realizing that when I'm teaching, I'm earning money, I'm making that money work for me, and that just kept on increasing, increasing.
Hmm.
So as of right now, also it is my money working for me only. So I had before I started my business only, I structured in such a way that
Uh-huh.
I didn't want it to be where I need to ask people for money, but I could do it on my
Uh-huh.
own. So before that's what I keep advising other people also. If you feel that you want to start your own business, you first see if you can arrange for it first before getting into it and then realizing that I need to keep having a supply of money for it. If you have a source of money coming in from somewhere, then only you can
Right.
delegate that money into different places. It's called money management. You can
Right.
manage it the
Definitely.
right way.
Definitely. So Josh, on this very point, also tell me about this thing then that you're reading books also and you're probably active on social media also,
Right,
and you would have heard a lot of lots and lots of stories also. And since you idolize Elon Musk,
right.
you also know that the amount of risks he has taken,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So when we talk about such risk, it's lots and lots of times said, that entrepreneurs, you guys have to take a risk because finance is probably gonna be an issue for a very long time
true,
until let's say the company turns into profit and the profits are coming in, or someone has really invested heavily in the company, something like that.
true.
So if I talk about your risk taking capacity,
Mm-hmm.
and if it required that you need to take up a risk, let's say a loan of maybe a 10 lakh, 50 lakhs or something of that sort,
Right,
what would your mindset be? Would you be willing to take up the loan? Because right now, the current mindset that I see is of generation of money, right? And putting that back in. But
right.
for example, there's a situation that you need the money. Maybe let's say it's becoming really important that you employ 10 teachers. I'm just putting up a situation,
Yeah,
okay?
yeah, yeah.
It becomes really important that you employ 10 teachers on a full-time basis so that they can cater to all the crowds, be it
Mm-hmm.
in domestic or international, right? And you need to pay for them, and the full-time fees, that how what a
Right,
full-time fees looks like,
right.
right? So, and you need those cash urgently, so would you be willing to take up those risks? And then if yes, how would you manage that?
So I would definitely stay away from loan. That's for sure.
Hmm.
I would
Okay.
if I feel that. my company is going to take a hit because of something that I cannot provide for, I would probably try arranging funds from partner businesses or partner like maybe family for like a
Mm-hmm.
small for a thing, but not see because the thing is as of right now what I am uh, about the loan situation. I don't think I would take a loan. I would probably ask my
Mm-hmm.
family business partner. I mean, my family members are also businessmen only, so they would probably
Mm-hmm.
understand from where I'm coming from. So it'd be much more easier to pitch
Mm-hmm.
it to them or get an investor on
Mm-hmm.
board than loan money from a
Mm-hmm.
bank.
Mm-hmm.
In short, saying I would not loan money, but probably get investors on board.
Right.
Either that or
Right.
family who are into business,
Right. Right. Right.
but
That's
never
that's
loan.
that's nice. That's a nice strategy, I would say, because लोन के साथ साथ आपके वो डंडा भी हो जाता है कि हर महीने के पैसे वापस करना है. So, with that said, probably we are towards the end of the podcast, and I don't think so. I'm really left with many more questions to ask you. So, the thing that I would ask you that if you want to give out some tips to the listeners, what would those tips be?
So what I would want to say would be you dream it, you believe it, and you will achieve it. In any entrepreneurship journey, when you're going, it all starts with a dream,
Right.
right? And when you dream about it, and when you start believing in yourself, because there'll be a lot of people who would isolate themselves from you. You'd probably not be going out with your friends a lot. You'd be sacrificing a lot. In that time, if you not believe in yourself, you're not going to go anywhere. Even though how many ever
I
people keep telling you about it, saying that you know what, you this won't work, that won't work, you're doing it wrong, this will happen, that will happen. I was like, why? Just mind. That's why it came. I think mind your own business. So 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 you mind your own business and you believe in yourself, you will definitely achieve it. Like some years back, I would never know I would be on a podcast with Sarthak talking about my entrepreneurship journey. It's only because I believed in myself, knowing what my worth is, that I'm here right now.
that's that's really sweet of you. Yeah, but yes, that's true also. That's definitely true. That's definitely true. Perfect. Yeah, that's a good insight that you are giving out. So there's one more thing that we do before we end the podcast. You know, we ask our guest
Mhm.
to recommend us another entrepreneur whom you think have a has a very insightful and inspiring journey, so that we can get them on the show and talk to them about the journey and get insights about their Dhandhoni Soch.
I would recommend Mr. Tanuj Agarwal. He is one of the
Okay.
co-founders of Rentcar.
Okay.
It's a very new way of renting things and sharing something that you like. So basically, what they are coming up with is they rent out instruments, but at
Mm-hmm.
the same time, um, they are also sharing things now. So if you're doing something but you do not use it anymore,
Mm-hmm.
you can send that on rent and someone else can use it.
Wow.
So it's an
That's
amazing idea.
that.
They have like a few co-founders with them, and they are also a very integral part
Mm-hmm.
of the hobby tribe. So
Okay.
yeah, Mr. Tanuj Agarwal is the person you need to contact.
Then I'll make sure that, I contact him with your help as well, and we are able to get him on board and get his interview done. And, I'll make sure that you both have each other's podcast to listen to and learn. And we also learn from you guys. So, yes. So, with that said, listeners, this was Josh with us. And so there's a lot and lots and lots that you can learn from Josh's journey, because he's, first of all, yes, he's just 21, and his journey has been really amazing. And what I would want you guys to pick up is that uh, even though he's coming out from a family background living out of South Bombay, but the way he has been brought up by his parents, that's very different, I would say, in terms of the normal, probably the business families. And his bringing up has molded him a lot in the kind of person that he is today, and because of which I can definitely say that because of those are the reasons because of which he's running the business right now. So you need to pick that up, irrespective however the parenting is. I never question anyone's parenting. Neither I would ask you to, but try and see what is hidden in that parenting and pick that up and put it in your journey, because when you try to see it, you will get to know what they have been trying to tell you or teach you. Along with that, it what again thing I would ask you to pick up is Josh has been very observant, and the personality has been, on the go. He's I would probably say that he's like a wind or something like that, someone who cannot settle at any point. So similar thing goes for all the entrepreneurs and to be entrepreneurs who are listening to this. You guys need to be very observant and try and see the trends that are happening out there. Look at the problems, because once you start looking out for problems, you will be able to figure out solutions, and you just need to sell the solution to become an entrepreneur. So probably this can be the answer to your question, or maybe those people's question who ask that I want to be an entrepreneur but I don't know what to do. Just look out for problems, I would say. You'll find a solution. So that is another thing. And I would definitely recommend you to check out the Hobby Tribe, the services that they're providing, and how you can learn online life coaching of the hobbies that you like, right? And just in case if I missed something, Josh, on this, you want to add to this?
See, I just want to say I started off with just one hobby that I was teaching the guitar. Now
Huh.
we have grown to 40 plus hobbies. So the sky is the limit. And if that's why I say all the time, never doubt yourself. You might not know what opportunities you can have, but you just miss it because you doubt yourself and because people call you a failure. Just because what people call you doesn't define who you are. That's what I want to say.
That's amazing. That's amazing. With that said, I want to thank you, Josh, for pulling out time from your schedule and coming on the show and giving us insight about your Dhandho Soch and how you are running the business. Right. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming in, and it was a pleasure talking to you.
Likewise, Sarthak, thank you so much for having me. It was really amazing talking to you too.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Man, I'll definitely see you when I come to Bombay.
Definitely.
Lovely.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure.
Lovely talking to you, man. I'll see you soon. Bye bye.
Bye.
I hope that you're able to take back something insightful from this podcast and apply it in your life to be a better version of yourself and add to your Dhandhoni Soch. If you know someone whom you think should feature on my podcast and has a very inspiring entrepreneurial journey, then do drop me a DM on my Instagram, SarthakVarshney. Sarthak Varshney. Yeah, that's me. I'm the founder of SV Clicks, and SV Clicks is the producer of this show. You can find me on Facebook or LinkedIn as well with the same name. If you're willing to listen to more of such unheard, inspiring stories of the entrepreneurs, then don't forget to follow us by pressing that follow button on your podcast screen. Thank you for being such an amazing audience. Keep learning, keep growing. We'll be back soon. See ya.